The world of celebrities is a very complicated one in various facets. Mainly because when you really think about it, there's major pressure to do certain things and maintain a certain level of beauty or status, and that can be hard on your mind and body. Thus, you let yourself go, which at times can be good or bad. Allow us to show you some examples of these. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 6. Charlie Sheen. Let's start off with an actor who absolutely let himself go in the worst possible way, Charlie Sheen. Charlie has had a wide range of roles over his career, from bad boy to soldier to politician, Wall Street broker, and more, all of which had him change his look in one way or another. But the real letting himself go moment was when he got a lot of fame on the CBS show 2.5 Men. Not because the role asked him to do something, but rather he got so over on himself in terms of arrogance that he thought he was untouchable. He started to suffer from substance abuse, and by his own admission later on, there was very little he wasn't on at that time, which is not something you want to hear, ever. This would eventually lead him to getting fired from the show and starting a slow descent that would eventually make him hit rock bottom once again. He did manage to get himself clean, but it came at the cost of his career. And you'll notice he's not doing much nowadays, outside of cameos and bit parts. Number 5. Jennifer Hudson. Now let's go and look at someone who has let themselves go in the good way, meaning that they went from a somewhat unhealthy body type to a much better one. In this case, that would be Jennifer Hudson. She became famous because of the second season of American Idol, in which she placed third. This led her to having a successful music and acting career, but her figure was always one of a heavier style. But eventually, she went and did Weight Watchers and lost a lot of weight. I had to break my diet mentally. I used to deprive myself, thinking that was healthy. I didn't eat pasta, fried food, red meat. I hadn't had pizza in 10 years. Today, I know now that I can eat anything I want and still lose or maintain my weight. It's about portions and balance, she said. She's now basically a spokesperson for the brand and proof of how it works if you dedicate yourself to it. And if you look at her on American Idol to where she is now, it's night and day in the best way possible. Number 4. Val Kilmer. Heading back to the not a good way to let yourself go, we look at former major actor Val Kilmer. At one point, Val Kilmer was a very respected actor and had major roles in films like Top Gun and was even Batman via Batman Forever. An honor only a select group of actors were able to do. But as time went on, something happened to Val Kilmer. Mainly, it was a case where he just let himself go. He went from a very muscular man, again, he was Batman for the film, and transformed into a very heavy-set man, to the point where he literally became a meme that people would do before and after shots and put, "Hey, remember, I was Batman." Now, to be fair, he has lost a lot of that weight, but he also put it back on, which isn't healthy. And he's nowhere near as prominent now as he was back then when he was in shape and taking care of himself. Number 3. Mariah Carey. Let's be honest here. Mariah Carey is a diva. She's someone who believes in her own importance and fame and uses that a lot. But one of the reasons she's so popular isn't just because of her voice, but because of her looks, which is why in 2017, people were stunned when during a concert she came out in a diamond-crested outfit that fully showed off her legs. And when she turned, we got to see just how big those legs were. They weren't the shape that many people remembered Mariah Carey having. There are various reasons she could have gained weight, but she did lose it later on. But it was still a very stark contrast from where she was before to what she was then. It wasn't her best look, despite what she no doubt thought. Number 2. Christian Bale. This next entry is honestly a very famous case of letting yourself go, because when it comes to Christian Bale, he's a method actor, which means that he believes in quote-unquote becoming the role in such a way that he'll intentionally grow or shrink his body to fit the part. Arguably one of the most jarring cases of this came via The Machinist and Vice. In the former, he starved his body in such a way that he lost like 30 pounds and became a skeletal man, even though the cast behind the scenes didn't ask him to do that. But it helped with the role, and so he did it. In contrast for Vice, Bale gained a lot of weight so that he could go and be the same body type as the former vice president of the United States. And it was convincing. That wasn't a fat suit. That was Christian Bale. He's also bulked up heavily for roles like Batman and slimmed down for stories like The Fighter, and he does it in no time flat. It's scary how he's able to do this with no consequences to his body, and yet getting all the awards from the roles he's done. Number 1. Sharon Osbourne. As we've shown, there are many ways to let yourself go, but one that applies to certain celebrities and even regular people is that of augmenting your body through surgery in order to look a certain way. To be fair, controlled plastic surgery can be helpful, but aggressive and numerous surgeries are often detrimental. For Sharon Osbourne, she was someone who felt compelled to get numerous plastic surgeries to look better, not for herself, but for her husband, Ozzy Osbourne. At one point in time, she was his manager, and then his girlfriend, and eventually his wife. But she felt her looks didn't match up with the star power that Ozzy had, so she continued to get plastic surgery to look better, and she looks nothing like she did before. Thankfully, she did eventually realize she didn't need to do this anymore. But that was only after she spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on plastic surgery to make herself look better for Ozzy. What a world! So there you go, everyone. A look at a set of celebrities who have let themselves go in a variety of ways over the years. Were you surprised by the people who made it on this list? Which ones were you most shocked by in regards to their transformations? Do you know another celebrity who should have been on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.